Coming up on this week's Secrets from a Coach.
Calmness starts with interrupting the chaos. So if you can, you're in it sometimes, but if you can just pause, we talk about being able to stop on purpose. And I know we do that every day, but to consciously breathe. And one of the things that does work is if you just place your hand on your chest and actually take a breath. So it's the conscious effort of, and then going, okay, that's fine. I've just interrupted that chaoticness that's surrounding me.
Secrets from a Coach. Thrive and maximise your potential in the evolving workplace. Your weekly podcast with Debbie Green of Wishfish and Laura Thompson-Staveley of Phenomenal Training.
Debs.
Law, you all right?
Yeah, how are you doing?
All right, thank you. I think out of interest, this topic that we're going to talk about has just been played out before we recorded this, hasn't it, Law?
Well, it certainly has. There's nothing like having a persistent dialing noise coming from your mobile phone when you've just hit record.
Yeah.
And then that moment of, do I ignore it and just keep cracking on? Or is this actually something that demands my attention?
Yeah.
And Debs, we couldn't have planned a better kind of mini setback as we embark on our second in this 4-part focus that we called Fresh Start, where last week's episode was focusing on setting intentions rather than resolutions. Now, I don't know about you, but I have had a number of people message me saying, just even seeing that podcast, that episode title, just took them back. From just to recenter, because there's just almost something on a good day. It invigorates you, that sense of goals and visions, but you might wake up 1 or 2 days later just thinking it's too much. I can't do it. So
it was really cool. Because I think, like we were saying, weren't we? I know I shared it with our Slimming World, because our Slimming World group is a fab group, 7:00 on a Saturday, amazing group of people that go there. And we were talking about goal setting. And I just said, well, actually, funny you should say that. Laura and I did our podcast around this, Fresh Start, and not setting goals and resolutions, but setting intentions. And you could see the penny drop, and somebody went, oh my God, that's such a kinder way of doing it. So, so obviously they were up for it, and it had created a good amount of conversation for sure. What about you?
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting week. So at the time of recording, we're at the start of the new calendar year, and so what that tends to bring is, as you see, everyone's starting to wake up and get into New Year mode. Your inbox suddenly then tips over. And I was speaking to one of my best friends last night, who's in startup mode, and from a business perspective, and she said that her to-do list was busting the seams of the A4 bit of paper. She was turning over the page and writing more. And her only way that she could see through it was just to sit there and do late night working just to crack through it. And it was an interesting take on, well, where's that sweet spot then between being able to handle the chaos that life brings you, the machine of life, but being able to create that calm approach to be able to handle that. So if life is a machine, your body's a temple, what does that then mean to take practical steps to create space for what matters? So between us then, we've got some things in our professional network where we can see this is a relevant topic. But Debs, tell us a bit more about why this is really connecting with you on a personal level, this ability to create calm from chaos.
Yeah, well, some of you people listening may already know my mum went into hospital just before Christmas with a mini stroke, and so she's recovering at the moment back home. But the chaos that it causes, it is just mind-blowing. Now we have carers helping her, but it's that morning, midday, evening, having to plan around what her needs are and what we can do to support her. It's making sense of the chaos, because if I didn't stop and think, right, what is the plan and who can I ask to help, I think I'd be flat on the floor by now, Law. So the ability to sort of take a moment, and I suppose for me it was pausing and going, right, this is what I'm being faced with. It's a lot, as well as working and doing everything that we do. So how do I come up with a way of working that's going to create a level of calmness and peace? I think Lynn's, our colleague, always says, when the pressure and stress is on, you've got to up your self-care. And I've definitely done that. So I've been consciously bringing it to the now, breathing, doing meditation, just sitting quietly, really quietly in the mornings. I sort of bring it into the now and just take a breath and go, right, I can do one thing at a time. What's the first thing that's important? And creating that calmness, if you like, out of the chaos that is around me. But to cut through it with peace and calm and tranquility, it takes a lot of me to make that happen. So the pausing, making sure I'm just sort of focusing on the bits. I'm not holding on to everything, because I think that would just be madness. And making sure I'm sort of grounding in my body, as we call it. And that was my word from our team day on Monday, was grounded. It's made a huge difference this week to be able to do that and do it well. But I hadn't probably appreciated after our session last week about fresh approach and then the intention. And that's what I've carried through. What's my intention amongst all this chaos to create calm? That's my intention.
Yeah. And Debs, it's always an inspiration watching you work and being able to get a peek behind the scenes of the sort of realities of it. And I think that's often why people, appreciate when they are on sessions or in workshops, when that the person who's sharing content is doing it from a genuine perspective of, I get it.
Yeah.
I'd far rather be on a time management course that's delivered by someone who isn't naturally gifted at time management, because if you've had to consciously learn how to do something and it's not a natural gift or disposition, then you have to really understand the steps to then take.
That's a good shout, actually, Law.
Yeah, which is why we thought this would be a really good focus to do on, well, what are some general principles picked up from the everyday hurly-burly of life? And then specifically, what does that mean if you are managing a team, formally or informally?
Yeah.
What does that mean to create some space in your everyday interactions with your team to bring a sense of calmness? And then we'll look at, well, what about ourselves? Because managers are humans too. Or maybe you're not in a management position, or you don't define yourself as a manager. So what does that mean to be able to steady yourself, to be able to continue to thrive, even if there are lots of things that are driving and demanding your attention?
Yeah, nice. Oh, yes. Shall we explore, Law?
Yes, let's. So, Debs, talk to me. In all of your years, I mean, she's only 28.
I wish.
She's had a tough paper round.
Those Saturday morning early jobs don't work, really.
So, in all of your experience, professional and personal, whether that is insights you've gathered from all the hundreds, thousands of people you've sort of worked with over the years, and including yourself, what for you are some general principles that if someone is starting to feel an overwhelm because the capacity is outweighed by the demands, what would be some general principles that can really help, that we can either use right now, because that might be the headspace we're in,
yes,
or we can save in our toolkit to either help ourselves or help someone else when the heat is on?
Yeah, love that. So I tried to do it in 3 for you, Law, because I know you love 3s.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So my first was, I suppose, the pause in the moment, because calmness starts with interrupting the chaos. So if you can, you're in it sometimes, but if you can just pause, we would talk about being able to stop on purpose. So just stop, take a breath. And I know we do that every day, but to consciously breathe. And one of the things that does work is if you just place your hand on your chest and actually take a breath. So it's the conscious effort of, and then going, okay, that's fine. I've just interrupted that chaoticness that's surrounding me. So my brain can take a moment to sort of play catch up, if you like, and then I can be calmer in approaching. So what's the very next step? And that might happen in a nanosecond, it might happen in a minute, it doesn't matter. But the fact you've calmed it by pausing, and it could be 30 seconds, 60 seconds, it doesn't matter. But that interrupting the calm is what can help stop any chaos, keep going. And the other one is, as we said earlier, shrinking the horizon, which is something we do. When we try and hold on to everything, it's just too big. There's too much out there. So if we can come to say, okay, ask ourselves a question, what's the one most useful thing I could do right now that would help it? Because that small action brings, if you like, a whole nervous system back into kilter, so it's not rocky and it feels safer because we are taking back the control, where we aren't holding on to everything. We're trying to just take one thing that we can do in that moment. And it's asking, what's the very next thing, useful thing that I can do to help me to get through this next moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something. And as I said earlier, grounding your body, not the story. So not getting caught up in the drama of it or the speed of it, or picking up on somebody else's feelings or emotions about it. It's just grounding yourself in it. And we always love that technique where it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 you can do, where you go, okay, let me name or see 5 things, name 5 things that I can actually see around me. You can say 4 things that, what can I actually feel? You might have 1 thing or 2 things, 3 things that I can hear around me, 2 things I might be able to just taste or see. And then the 1 is, what's the smells? Can I smell anything? So the grounding brings us to the now, right in the present moment. And that can really make a difference to ensure that, we are looking after ourselves through this. And it's just saying it's not about being perfect in that moment. It's just being calm enough to be able to take the next step.
Oh, Debs, love that. So the first tip then of your magic 3 is pause.
Yeah.
And that bit about putting your hand on your chest.
Yeah.
I guess this is a self-tool, not one that you would do with a team member.
I'm right. I think, no, avoid that, doing it with a team member. I'm just going to calm you down, team member, and put your hands on their chest. Do not do that.
Yeah, no, this is not the 90s, Debs.
It's not.
And then shrink horizon. Now, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So I have discovered over the last couple of years that what helps me deal with what feels like an overwhelming list of things to do is to number them in order.
Yes,
so
good.
I write it all down and then I number them in order, what needs to come first. And I think it's a little bit, I think it's the same psychology that is like when I do a HIIT exercise.
Yeah.
Where the countdown's going to go for 40 seconds. Like it or not, once you start, you might as well keep going to the 40th second. Because there's almost a familiarity of counting.
Yes.
And I have found that it's one of my little things that just helps me to be able to stay on top of stuff. And I don't mean the stuff that is unplanned. I mean when there are things that need to be done and, you've just got a list that you're compiling. So it's been quite interesting how there must have been something from school or just the years that we've spent putting things in a numerical order is almost quite soothing and comforting because once you get going, you're going to keep going as well.
Yeah.
Do you know, I remember there was a parenting handbook and it was called the Magic Power of the 5-second countdown.
Oh, okay.
So it was something around, if you've got a toddler that is not doing what you need that toddler to do, to then give the countdown of, okay, that needs to be done. We start counting 5, 4.
Yeah.
Just the magic power of this 5-second countdown.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's just the offshoot of that.
Yeah. I think it is.
If you, right from the start as a kid, if you were taught that is the order of what you do, or you need to get this thing done in a certain amount of time, there's almost like this kind of reassuring familiarity of actually if there's an overwhelming, chaotic list of things to do, put them in a numerical order. You've been there before. It's a familiar pattern, so you can do it.
That's such a good point. I never thought about that. And you just made me think of other people do an ABC list. And I'm thinking, because that's how you're taught, isn't it? The alphabet. They don't start teaching you it from M. They start teaching you it from A.
Yes.
So we automatically fall into that rhythm of A, B, C, D. And people can use your numbering in the same way, and they might put a letter against it. So yeah, it probably is ingrained within us. Get that done in 3 seconds. Count down to 3. If it's not done, 3, 2, 1, and then what? I was
hell breaks
fortunate.
loose.
Yeah, literally chaos ensues. But I suppose we do. We pass that on to if we got children or those who've been around children, or that's why you see some people using an ABC list, because that's how we've learned, I suppose. A good point. I never thought about that.
Because the comfort is you absolutely know that after you've got 1, 2, 3, there's going to be a 4 and there's going to be a 5.
So
it
creates
almost
safety.
it always enables you to feel safe because
you know what's coming next.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's very true. Rather than go, and that's when chaos ensues, when you go from A to Z to D to J. That's when chaos is, because there's no order to it. And we like order, don't we?
Yeah.
Clarity.
So what's I just think that's interesting. I mean, just even using your own sort of life as a bit of a kind of a reference. But let's say you've ordered your list and you got your A to D or whatever, or your 1 to 5, and then your car tire blows out on a pothole, and there could be all sorts of life equivalents of a tire blows out.
Yeah.
So I just think it'd be really useful just to end this first bit on when the shit hits the fan and you suddenly realise you've run out of numbers and letters. What are some practical things that can help in that moment?
Yeah, I think it's stopping, recognizing it, and just asking yourself the question as to say, right now, what would be calm enough look like? So what would I need to do? So what would calm enough look like for me in this moment? Because if I'm losing my head because I'm coming screaming at my bloody car, it's not the car's fault. It's not. So it's that right now, and saying a question to yourself right now, what would calm enough look like for me? That's the pause moment, which you can then go, well, actually, it would be finding a garage, So that, again, you've created your first step. So that means I'm back to that safety of knowing what I can do next to help, rather than running around like a headless chicken and not knowing what to do because we're caught up in the chaos of it on the seriously moment. So we just need to calm that down.
Brilliant.
But don't have anybody say to you, "You're all right, love, calm down, it'll be all right," and you want to punch their lights out. That's not what we're saying. Say it to yourself. What would be calm enough look like for me? Not the person.
Love that. And if we take that then into the workplace, just think, what benefit does that bring if you're surrounded by people that are able to have the impulse control to not mask and pretend everything all right that it's not, but to be able to manage that excess energy in that moment to shift from chaos to calm. So I'd love to get your thoughts, Debs, on what are some practical steps that a manager can do to create a shift from chaos to calm in the ways of working within their team.
Cool.
So, how does a manager do it? We know that the only person we can control in the whole wide world is ourselves.
Yes.
So we can't force people to be calm. In fact, that might be the ultimate trigger conversation.
Yes.
But what are some things that could practically help if you're line managing, formally or informally, a team of people around you or a project? You need to get stuff done, but there's just lots of chaos all around. What are some simple things that can help?
Oh my God, there's quite a few. I think the first one for any manager or seeing chaos around you is to remind yourself, actually, I don't need to fix this. I just need to listen and create the space to be able to explore. So if that's all you're there to do is just listen and create that calm space around you. And it's about being able to I suppose, reduce the overwhelm that you might be seeing in somebody. It's maybe how do I best support them in that moment? What clarity do they need? How do I bring them again back to grounding and in the present moment? And how do you sort of finish it off with a calm close, so to speak, as to what's the next step going to be for you? So as managers, I think we can really help people by creating that safe, calm and safety by asking if people are in a chaotic mood. That checking can really help just calm everything down, because we carry it with us. If we've gone back to back to back to back meeting and we've got loads of stuff flying in, fly out, and that's not healthy for anybody. So asking questions like, how are you arriving, which is how are you arriving today? Or you could ask them to sort of explore with you on a scale of, of calm to stretched, where are you today? So all these little things to help. And I love the question, what would help you feel a little bit lighter today? So by asking those questions, again, automatically just brings you down rather than keep you on a high. And you have to stop and think about your response to them, which again creates more calmness within the body. We're enabling our brain to flood with whatever chemical it is so that we can start thinking rather than just be reacting in that moment. So that's something we can do, creating the calm and the safety. Managers can also do the reducing the overwhelm. So again, finding out what's going on for your team. Obviously, hopefully you know what's going on for them. But if there's asking them, what is really distracting you, or is really too noisy for you at the moment? And then what is the one thing that would make the biggest difference to you this week or today? And again, asking questions of your team enables them to sort of stop and think and come back with a response. And if you've listened, you can then, if you're a good manager leader, you will ask them, so what can be simplified right now for you? It's definitely from that coaching space where you're getting them to come up with the answers, because we all have the answers within us. We're not wanting you to fix us. I don't necessarily want you to fix what's going on, the chaos with my mum, but by you asking questions about it, it makes me stop and think, what's within my gift to be able to do something with that, because you've created the space for me to just, go there, really, which I think is really key. It's that you create the space.
Debs, I've just had a thought, which I don't know if I've joined the dots up before. Just listening to you sharing the phenomenal power and influence that the right question can have to steer and course correct someone's thinking pattern. I know asking questions is hugely important in the practice of being a coach. And what it reminded me of, because I love it when you can flip things and see the sort of opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how familiar you are with the Elizabeth Loftus work around eyewitness testimony.
Oh, okay. Go on.
And it was used as evidence around how the questioning that happens in a court case,
right?
You're not allowed to lead or steer by the questions that you ask, because the human memory is vulnerable to revise what it's recalled by the questions that someone is asked afterwards.
Okay.
So the experiment was this. Everyone had to watch a footage of a car crashing into another car.
Right.
And they watched it first of all, and then they were asked to estimate what was the speed of the car that was moving, and they had to estimate it.
Right.
Then what they looked at, so that was the initial memory. Then people were asked a day, 2, 3 days after, to recall how fast was the car going. But they looked at, if we adjust and manipulate the wording, how does that then adjust and basically interfere with the memory? So people that were asked, how fast was the speeding car travelling when it smashed into the obstacle?
Right.
They tended to up the miles per hour that they'd given
Ah,
just after having
fascinating.
watched it. So
Okay.
eyewitness testimony became this thing about how human memory is notoriously fragile
Mm-hmm.
in that it can be manipulated afterwards by the questions that is asked. So if we know that is true in terms of your version of the truth, then it must be opposite. If I'm sitting there in front of someone, as you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
who's stressed and overwhelmed, and I ask, what's the gift you can give yourself, or what would help you from a calm perspective?
Yeah.
I'm putting into your mindset, I'm interfering with it, the fact that there are things that you can do
Yes.
and it's in the pursuit of calm. So I've never really joined the dots up before about how actually in the world of, eyewitness testimony,
Yeah, that's
and making
fascinating,
sure you
Law.
don't interfere with witnesses. You got to be really pristine in the questions that you ask. So a lawyer would get challenged if they were asking questions that were seen to interfere with that memory.
Got
Then we
you.
can sort of use that evidence for good.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? I've not heard of that, but that is fascinating because it is just that, isn't it? The language we use can prompt somebody to think differently. So again, being mindful of that, that is fascinating.
And let's shift that back into the prompt questions that you were saying from a manager point of view. If I've come into that one-to-one with you and I'm thinking I've got 70 things going around in my head at the moment,
Yeah,
and you asked me that question of, well, what's the main thing that needs to be, that's important to achieve this week? I'm now thinking, okay, actually, it's only about 40.
yes,
So the revert,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
it's
idea.
using that same, which I guess is sales. I mean, in sales, if
Yeah,
if a customer gives you an objection, then you ask the question, well, what would help with that, rather than
yes,
tell me all the reasons why you hate it. You would
yeah,
ask, well, what's the one thing you do like? So you
yeah,
re-steer that conversation. So I
yeah.
love those prompt questions, Debs.
Fascinating, isn't it? Because I suppose then what you're doing is you're starting to build some clarity for that individual and self and support because you're not trying to fix them in that moment. You're giving
Yes.
them that space. And I think also being creating clarity sometimes for people can help initially. So I think one of the things that I always loved, I had a manager that did this all the time. She was amazing. She would say, so what support do you need from me right now? It was my choice to ask for help and support, not her telling me what she could do for me. And I used to love that question and I have used it since. So what would support would be most useful for you right now from me? And then again, you choose how you want me to help you. And then asking around, where do you feel clear? Where do you feel stuck? Again, getting people to explore it, which is what we're looking for, because exploration is really important around this. And again, that good old fashioned one, what do you need more of? What do you need less of? So that creating the support to ask that and clarity around next steps. Yeah, I think that can really make a difference to be able to hold the space to explore it for a moment. And we're not talking hours of conversation, Law. This could be done in like 2 minutes.
Mm.
But it could be enough to say, and that's sometimes we as coaches don't get dragged into the story because ultimately we want to help, we want to fix, blah blah blah, but that's not our role and it's not what we do well. So we have to go listen, and then you go, okay, so what would you like to do with that? And that's it. That might be the only question you ever and I love the so what question. So what do you want to do now? I'm not getting involved in the drama or the story of it or the historic hysterics of it or the chaos. Just calmly ask, so what would you like to do with that next? It's enough to get them to go, yeah, like you said, well, I've only got 40 really rather than 70. And then they talk it out themselves, which is fascinating to watch. Because what you've done in that moment is you've grounded them and you've brought them into the present moment, right in the now. And it's asking again, what has helped you reset when things have felt full on in the past? So again, you're asking them to go back to find out what has helped them. So you're bringing that into the present, knowing that that's what could help them now. And then again, what's one thing you can do this week, or what's one thing you can do right now that's going to protect your energy to create a calmness? So again, it's bringing them right down into the present moment. And closing people calmly, it's just that next step. So as coaches, we always turn it, it's always action focused. There's always a solution that comes out of a good coaching conversation. If there is no action, it's just been a nice conversation. It's been a nice chat. And that's the difference between getting somebody to own it, to make their own step, keeping them safe, obviously, and then just saying, what would good enough look like for you right now? What can you do? How can you do that? When might you do it? And then off you go. So it's that, asking them, what is it? What's their next step here?
What I think is just awesome is taking from the profession of coaching, which has grown massive over the last 20 odd years. And you're one of the OGs, Debs. So,
I am.
You've seen various sort of coaching fashions come and go. But I cannot think of a single line manager or leader job advert that isn't going to be asking for a coaching approach to be able to unlock potential in people, because that act of one person listening to another is already kind of calm in its own right. So I think that's a real opportunity to just refresh our coaching toolkit. And let's now end on, what does that mean for us on an individual point of view? Because managers are people too.
Yeah, they are.
And for anyone here who doesn't identify as a manager, what does that mean in terms of being able to steady yourself and shift from chaos to calm?
Oh, I like that, Law.
Guess what, Debs?
Go on. What have you done, Law?
I've got 49 and a half steps to creating a steady mindset.
Are you sure we need that many, Law?
Only joking. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps.
Okay.
And already, you see, we're a bit more motivated to think about those 6 steps, because
we are
practicing Robert Cialdini's art of persuasion, keeping a sense of perspective can just help refocus ourselves. So if you've got 40 things to do, well, that's better than 50.
That's true.
And again, I'm not advocating for toxic cheer yourself up, even though you're weeping
not
inside.
Toxic positivity, not that.
No. Cheer up might never happen. Well, it just has actually.
It has happened. Yeah. Back off. Yeah.
So these 6 steps, handily, guess what? They spell the word steady.
No.
So this is riffing on the things we've already discussed. So this is a nice little summary before we get into our call to action and share the secret. Number 1, stop.
I'll stop, Law.
Whoa, when everything is spiraling out, just stop. Whether that is physically stopping in your tracks, whether it is physically moving your hands from the keyboard or your thumbs from the screen or your eyes from whatever you're looking at, stop. The second T is talk it out or think it through. So depending on whether you need to get those thoughts out of your head to just tumble them out to get headspace, whether you need to think that through to be able to get some clarity. And if you're working alongside someone else in that moment, signposting it as you were a real advocate. So if you're about to work with the world's deepest introvert, and you go to them and say, I just need to clear my head for a moment, it's making it really clear, if you're the world's biggest extrovert, that these thoughts aren't necessarily decisions.
No, very important.
They're
just your thoughts.
No, just because you're saying it out loud doesn't necessarily mean this is a formal briefing. This is a way of getting clarity, being able to talk it out or think it through. And that's where the wonderful world of individual differences means that, we can be the yin to the yang, but it's understanding. The E of steady stands for explore what's going on, and those amazing questions you shared earlier from managers, that can be self-management questions as well. And then the A, I think, is a big one, is to accept. Not everything can be done by you right now. And that's okay, because you're not a machine. And even machines need to have their batteries recharged.
Exactly.
And speaking as the former head of training for Ann Summers, there's a big market in that as well. So then D stands for
Keep things
decide.
steady.
Absolutely.
Okay, decide. Okay.
For decide. So what
Mhm.
is the most important thing? What is the next step I can take? Again, riffing on those coaching questions. And the why stands for you matter. So acknowledge what you have done already, not just what is kind of next on the things to do. So
Yeah.
that's your 6-part
Oh, I like
tips
that.
for keeping steady. Stop, talk or think, explore, accept, decide, you matter in that moment to be able to create the space for what matters, which is looking after you.
It
Because
is.
if you're not all right, none of this stuff on your to-do list is going to get done anyway.
No, definitely. Oh my God, I love that steady. So we had fresh, which law, and then that was last week, and then steady this week. I'm looking forward to what's coming next week, Law. But I love that. We have to come up with. You have to come up with it. But I think that just
I'll just
makes
put
you
that on the
think
to-do
that-
list, Debs.
Put the, on the
item
number
41.
94. But I think, I think that's really cool. And I think that links into the call to action is, for me, is to just take that breath. If you feel, because you feel it and you feel like your brain's rushing, you're rushing, everything else. So that stop, as you said in the beginning of steady, stop. Just to take the time to just breathe and then head into whatever it is you're through those, talk, think it through, explore it, accept it, decide. You make the decision as to what you're going to do next. I think it's perfect. So I think my call to action was, how are you going to use steady over the next few weeks and months that are going to create a sense of calmness rather than chaos around you? Love it.
Oh, fantastic wrap up. Thank you, Coach. Okay, so my share the secret. Who do you know in your work or personal life who you think would find this a reassuring, light-hearted listen? Because sometimes the stuff that can overwhelm us is when we feel like we're the only one going through it. And the irony is, of course, is the busier you are, the less appetite you have to connect and catch up with others. So if you found this an interesting listen, all in the pursuit of helping us thrive and maximise our performance in this ever-evolving world of work, we're 5.5 years in, and who knows what is waiting for us over the next 3 to 4 years. But it's probably going to involve things on your to-do list.
Definitely.
So that capacity to be able to shift from chaos to calm is a useful skill, not only to role model as parents and friends and partners, to our personal networks, but in our professional networks as well. So
I've loved it. It's been
Debs.
good. I feel very grounded again, and like I can do what's on my list today, and I can prioritise it. I love that.
Yeah, and I love those questions. Thank you so much. Just
That's
a really
right.
useful refresher of these things. And this is the thing, Debs, all this stuff is common sense, but it's common practice and putting it into your sort of habits and routines, which is why next week, which is our third in our 4-part focus, looking at fresh start, is how do we create that life-work balance that we want? And just as a teaser, Debs, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gently shifted someone from saying, I want to have a good work-life balance. And I say, well, my work wife, Debs, she's on a mission to change the ordering of that word, of that phrase. So it's life-work balance. So more of which we'll cover at the next episode.
Looking forward to that one as well, Law. But in the meantime, have a great rest of the week.
You too, Debs. Keep steady, sister. Love you lots.
I will do. Love you too.
Bye. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at contact@secretsfromacoach.com or follow us on Insta or Facebook. If you're a Spotify listener, give us a rating as it's easier for people to find us. And if you want to know more, visit our website, www.secretsfromacoach.com, and sign up for our newsletter, here to cheer you on and help you thrive in the ever-changing world of work.